consider, you might consider Zionism is equal to Judaism. I don't consider Zionism to be equal to Judaism. And
I don't
many
think so.
Jews,
I don't think so
no, no,
either.
no, no, it's okay, it's okay, it's
That
okay.
is the cohesion.
I don't think so either.
Okay, so
I
here's
really
my
don't.
point. It's okay, it's okay. You can call me anything, you can label me anything, it doesn't really matter to me, okay? So it doesn't really matter to me. If I'm scared of all these labeling, I wouldn't be on this app at all. Okay, I've been labeled much worse, so it doesn't matter to me. Okay. Those Jews who have known me in my life, they know that I don't hate Jews. And they matter to me more than you matter to me. So and incidentally, there is not a single Palestinian I have met in my life. Today I stand with the Palestinians, even though I know Jews much better than I know Palestinians. So you'll have to understand that. Anyway, Caleb, that's my stand, and that will remain, it will continue to remain so. Anyway, Big, you wanted to speak. Go ahead, Big.
Thank you, brother. I've been waiting for this. See me, I don't show mercy to Goyims ever. Listen, hey, Carneades. Carneades, are you a Zionist or are you a Jewish man first? Carneades.
Well, I'm Jewish.
You for Israel as a Jew. Do you follow your Torah? Carneades?
I'll do my best.
No, you don't. Because in your Torah it says Jews do not have land. You know what I mean?
The Torah says nobody has land.
No, it says you Jews
All
don't
the
have
land,
land. It's your life.
all the land belongs to God.
Caleb. Are you going to say your Torah is false, Caleb, right now? So you don't believe in the Torah?
Why would I say that?
So you wear that around your arm for no reason? Stop the circulation of blood for no reason?
No, it doesn't stop circulation.
So Caleb, that back what El Norim or whatever the El Goyim about that child that got sniped. Do you think that was a false article? Khalid, like you think that video was fake too?
I think the video was real. Just
Okay.
what it
So
doesn't,
what do you think
it doesn't show
what
the
do you
video.
think of a Goyim? Listen, what do you think of a Goyim
You
defender,
ask,
aka the IDF, the Goyim defenders?
you ask a question, you gotta let the other person answer.
Okay, go ahead, answer that, Caleb. Go ahead.
I believe that it's a real video, right? The video doesn't show who the shooter is.
Okay, Caleb, I got a question. This IDF sniper stay in the open to do you know where he's at, Caleb?
No, but that video is a very small
Does
thing.
any sniper in history of snipers, like in the history of the world, rather, will a sniper stay where you can see him, Caleb? Was he
Very
hidden?
small thing.
Was he hidden to kill people without being known where he's at, Caleb?
Are you asking me a question? That means you
Yes.
have to vote yes.
I finished the question completely first, Caleb, before your victim mentality tries to cut in.
You've repeated the question
When
three
you
times.
want to be treated well, you treat others well, Caleb. Let me finish the question.
You've repeated it 3 times.
All right, go ahead, answer. What did you say, Caleb? What is going on with you, brother?
The thing with that video is not very wide. So, like I said, I don't know who the shooter was according to that video. There might be other data outside of the video, but I have not been presented that yet.
Caleb,
And
in
you
your
haven't presented
Goyim mind, who do you believe shot?
probably zero.
Thank you, brother. So, do you think, like your Torah, what does it say about killing these innocent children? What does it say about that, Caleb? Your Torah, not you in your
What
mindset.
does the Torah have to do with it?
Because we're speaking of Jews who tried to play victims. We want to know.
That doesn't have anything to do with the
It
Torah.
does. This shows you what your agenda is. In Palestine, brother. What are you talking about?
You know how many Jews are religious in this world?
Oh my God. We try to understand why are you in the Middle East as a Caucasian male, brother. This is what we're trying to get down to.
I'm not Caucasian.
You are Caucasian. Where you from? Where you from, Caleb? Where's your ancestors from? Like your grandfather. Not even your great grandfather, just your grandfather. Where's he from, Caleb?
They were born in America.
Thank you. Stop it. You
born in America. So anybody whose grandparents are born in America is Caucasian.
No, no, the better question is where did your grandparents who emigrated to America, or if the ones who great grandparents, where did they emigrate to America from?
From Eastern Europe.
There we go.
Thank you, Caucasian man. So we didn't even need to know all that straight up. We already know what we're going with this. We already know what we're going with this. So listen, Caleb.
I don't think
So
you
I
know
have a
what
question. So when you see that child that got shot in the video, do you know what his great grandparents are from? Can you? Palestine. Oh my God. Palestine. His great grandfather is from Palestine. Can you know that?
Okay. Jews are from the
Imagine
same line.
a colonizer sniping a kid in his own land and then telling you it's his land.
You can't colonize your own land.
You just said your people are from Europe, man.
That's where we lived most recently in our exile. But we're all
This is the modern manifest destiny.
Oh man, that's good enough.
Jewish
Every
people are from the
time I heard of Israelites, they were slaves and nowhere near Palestine. Bro. Let's be real with you.
Oh, okay.
Egypt, you know what I mean?
There has never been a time where Jews did not live in that land.
There hasn't been a time.
There has never been any time in history since Jews
How did y'all lose it?
that there have not been any Jews living there.
How did y'all
There's
end up
always
in
been
Europe?
time.
How did you end up in Europe? All of a sudden, all of you guys.
Exile there.
So the Jews over there, do you know their names? We know about the exile, we don't know any Jews that
Why, Caleb, why in the Ottoman Empire at the time, Jews lived there with Muslims? Why in Palestine, Jews lived with Muslims?
Second class citizen.
Listen, everywhere in the world, Caleb, Jews lived with Muslims and Christians until the state of Israel was established. You heard me? And then all of a sudden, Jews became a burden to every fucking religion and every culture. Come on, you guys are just weird. You guys are weird, bro. Listen, man. There's Jews that walk around New York every single day around America. No one tells them shit, bro. You guys hate everyone and try to make us hate y'all. This is weird, bro.
I'll tell you what. First of
You
all,
guys hate the whole world, but make it look like the world hates you guys. We don't care about 6 million Jews around this bitch, bro. I promise.
I haven't mentioned that.
I'm just saying.
You did though. You accused Fayez of Jew hate. That's all you said.
So I'm trying to clarify that no one hates on Jews. No one will hate on the minority. Who would hate on the minority? You guys.
Again, big. Have you finished saying the same thing over and over?
Yeah,
Can I respond to you?
This guy repeats the same thing. Is this all he does, bro?
Can I respond to you?
Look, respond to me with a nice Zionist answer. Go ahead.
He's gonna call you a Jew hater and then
Jew hater.
go
Even if I hated Jews, I'm just like him. I hate who hates me. What the fuck?
Can I respond?
You're both Semites, goddammit! You're both little Semites, man!
Why would I love my enemy? That doesn't make sense.
Can I respond?
Go ahead. Why would I love my enemy, bro?
So if I can respond, then you have to speak.
I'm a mute.
I don't think you have a very good sense of the history of the Jews, neither in the Arab world, Muslim world, nor in Europe. It was not always hunky-dory and lovey-dovey. Even in the best of times, in both societies, there was still all kinds of hatred and discrimination against Jews. Go read any history.
The only people that showed hatred to Jews were your own European cousins.
Are you saying there was hatred and discrimination in Palestine against Jews?
Yeah.
Then why'd you go there?
Because that's where we're from.
Why did they allow a ship to land in their ports to drop you minorities off?
And that's what doesn't make sense, and they know it. Jack, go on.
Before when it was
You
the Empire.
gotta learn some history. You guys sound
One
really
sec. When it was the Ottoman Empire, who was attacking Jews in Palestine?
I mean, just tell me.
It was the Druze. D-R-U-Z.
time period in the Ottoman?
It was Lebanese Muslims.
Which time period? Which time period in the Ottoman Empire?
Jack, I promise you, Muslims are known for hating Jews.
Give me the time period.
I'll give you the time period. I looked at the time period of Muslim rule in Palestine, the whole Ottoman Empire time period. In Palestine specifically, it's like 600 something years, or 600 years. And I looked at all the pogroms in Palestine against Jews, and I found very few, and specifically in Palestine. And most of the ones that I found, it was Druze committing these massacres, and Muslims coming to give the Jewish people justice by literally killing the people who committed these crimes. And usually it was Lebanese Muslims or whoever was the local ruler who would do that. And I implore you to go look at Palestine specifically prior to British rule, and just look compared to the rest of the world how few attacks on Jews there were. And I think you'll be surprised.
So again, please listen carefully to what I say.
This guy.
No, again, please listen carefully, Jack. You're a reasonable guy. I didn't say that there were a lot. I said that it wasn't always the best relationship. There was a massacre in 1517 and one in 1834, and probably more. I'm willing to concede the actual facts about how many there were, but don't pretend that it was some kind of like love fest for all the time that Jews lived in Muslim lands. Was it worse in Christendom? Hey, I'm still talking. Was it worse under Christianity? Yeah, it was worse under Christianity, but it wasn't all bells and roses under Islam.
Who brought the Jews? Can I ask one question? Who brought the Jews back to Jerusalem? After they were expelled by the Christians, who brought them back?
What time period?
The time after the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, during the first caliphate or second.
Well, Jews were always living there. It was never a time when there were no Jews living.
In Jerusalem, weren't they banished from Jerusalem?
Yeah, by that guy. He's depicted as overweight. What's his name? I'll get his name. Starts with an S. And he loves.
I'm pretty sure it was. I don't want to be.
I forget his name.
It's not Salah ad-Din, is it?
No. It's Umar bin Khattab.
Yeah.
Khattab.
Thank you.
He arrived.
Saleh.
He arrived and he said, "Where are the Yehud?" Because he knows that they were here. And then the guy, he heard. I forget his name. I can look it up when I finish talking. He knows about Umar bin Khattab, and he said, "I don't want to fight your army. You can have it." And then Umar bin Khattab said, "Where are the Jews?" And he said, "We banished them there, and there." So he sent his men to go get a representative of the Jewish tribes that were banished, and then those representatives came to Umar, and he said, "Bring your people back. The Muslims are back in rule, so you have been banished unjustly. If we are in rule, you will be brought back to your land."
What's that? It's haram to do that to them.
Yeah, because they were innocent.
Haram in our religion. Haram.
Yeah, I'll be back. I'm gonna get the name
I
of the
just want
guy.
to ask one
It was
question.
literally it was a bloodless conquer. Umar's reputation precedes him. When he arrived, they were like, "We don't want to fight you."
Umar will give him that work. I just wanted to ask him how many churches or synagogues were destroyed during the Ottoman Empire. I just wanted to ask him that. Compared to now, all these churches and mosques being blown up by Israel.
Caleb ran away. Looks like he ran away.
His name was Sophronius. He was the leader of Jerusalem. He was the guy. When Umar bin Khattab came, Sophronius said, I don't want to fight your army. Take Jerusalem. And he brought the Jews back, Umar bin Khattab, because they were unjustly taken away, exiled, and that ended 500 years of Roman rule. Muslims took over. So that's why he leaves. And remember I told you guys, anytime you mention Umar bin Khattab bringing back the Jews to Jerusalem, to this land that they were fighting for, when they were kicked out by the Romans and exiled, it was the Muslims who brought them back. You better kiss the feet of the Muslims. How dare you speak ill of the Muslims? They're so stupid. They think that we don't know our own history. His name is Sophronius. Always mention it. Sophronius, he was the leader of Jerusalem under the Roman.
The other thing that always, surprises me is that when you say you're anti-Zionist, anti-Zionism, they immediately call you a Jew hater. Whereas in reality, there are many evangelical Christians who are more Zionist than Jews themselves. If you look at those who control the Zionist organization in the US, including AIPAC, for example, and ADL, you will find Zionist Christians in that playing a strong, important role. Not just Jews, there are Zionist Christians doing their part. And there are also, I believe, even though I have not been able to come across any prominent Zionist Muslim, but I believe there are some Muslims who adhere to this ideology. So when I say that I am against Zionism, how does that make me a Jew hater? It should actually make me a Jew hater, come Christian hater, come Muslim hater, because people of all three religions and also atheists. Herzl himself was atheist. So I should also be considered an atheist hater. So that makes me a hater of four groups.
Two things. Herzl wasn't the founder, and also, Pete Hegseth, one of Trump's appointees, apparently he proclaimed himself as a Christian Zionist.
Who claims as? Can you repeat that name?
Pete Hegseth, he's Trump's defense secretary, or the Department of Defense.
Okay, but I'm not referring to any of those guys. What I'm referring to is if you look at who controls APAC, for example, who are amongst the board of directors in the board of APAC, ADL, the American, what's that,
Anti-Defamation League.
Anti-Defamation League, yes. If you look at the people who are at the helm of affairs in these organizations, and if you look at the people who strongly stand with Israel and call everything as something established by God, they are Christians. They are not even Jews. That's why I say that if I'm against Zionism, I should be against all of these people, including atheists. So that doesn't make me if you're labeling me as a Jew hater because I oppose Zionism, then you should label me as a Christian hater, Muslim hater, atheist hater. That's my point, Julian.
Well, I mean, a lot of Christians are the heads of those organizations, but it's most likely because there's a large religious significance in Israel for a lot of Christians, and also, so I guess we hold it more personal, and also a lot of people in America in those positions are Christians in the first place.
So if I oppose Israel anti-Jew.
Anti-Zionism is anti-Jewish, anti-Jewish, but yeah, I'm not sure about Christian.
What is it anti-Jewish? What makes it anti-Jewish?
But I just now explained to you, and you also acknowledge that there are many Christians who are Zionists. So shouldn't that make me an anti-Christian too?
I think over like 90% of the Zionists are Christians.
You're simply against the right of the Jews for national determination. That's the base. That's Zionism.
And also,
You are against
the whole
I want to
scenario
respond to Eagle. I want to respond to Eagle. Eagle, when you look at the historical facts data, who colonized it, who killed it, who did a whole bunch of crazy nonsensical bullshit. Why is the right of return not being respected since 1948? Right? Why do you have a fucking law of return for the Jewish folks? Why can't the indigenous people to the land come back? Why?
Arabs.
Why is there? No, not
Arabs,
Arabs. They're
they
indigenous to
want
the land.
Arabs,
They're indigenous to the land. You're not indigenous. You're from Poland. Arabs that you call Arab, they're indigenous to the land.
The war was in 48. The Arabs rejected the idea that it will be.
Why should they accept that? Why should they accept it?
Okay.
I don't get it. Why should they accept it? It's their fucking place. Why should they accept it?
It's our historical.
No, it's not your historical place. You're a secular. You're an atheist. You don't even believe in Judaism. Like what you?
International community decided in 47 there will be.
No international community. America was the first country to recognize it. America was the first country to recognize it. The UN, with a whole bunch of countries, Okay, do you remember the UN mediator got assassinated by your Jewish terrorist gangs? Do you remember that?
The UN resolution which
Yes,
decided
yes.
that
Hold
there
on,
will be
hold on.
a Jewish state in this place.
In 47, when they did the partition plan,
Yes, in 47.
yes, you know, in 47, your Jewish terrorist gangs, they started ethnically cleansing people. And they started ethnically cleansing Arabs. Why would you do that?
All started by Arabs who rejected that.
No, according to the UN, it was your Jewish militia.
there are people
And you
on
want me to
both
give you the
sides
UN
that
report?
are
Hold
terrorists.
on, Julian, I go based on facts. All the
Okay,
UN reps,
so
Julian, calm yourself down. You don't have any knowledge of this.
I do
Yeah,
live
you don't
with
have
the
nothing,
fact
bro.
that
You don't acknowledge nothing. You don't want to concede to nothing. So please.
what are you talking about? It's literally the fact that both sides literally committed terrorism
Can
and
you mute up? Can you mute up? Mute up. According to the UN report, it was Jewish militia was the one that did the attacks. After that partition plan in 1947.
Oh, the war started by Arabs who reject the.
Do you want me to give you the UN report about the Nakba? I don't know. I'm fed up and tired of these people, man. They're fucking living in denial. Arabs.
The Arabs rejected the partition plan and Jews accepted it.
Why should they accept it? Why? It's their land. I just don't get it. Why should, when you come to my property, why should I accept it? If I don't accept it, are you gonna force down in my throat? Are you gonna force your contract down my throat? Well,
Why is it the Palestinians' problem? I'll never understand this, Amir. You keep saying it was only our only homeland. Why is that Palestinians' problem? Do you hear yourself, Igal? Like, don't even say that out loud. You shouldn't say. Hold on, Igal, don't interrupt me. You shouldn't say this out loud because it's nonsensical. It's elementary the way you're thinking. Why would the safety of one group be important to another group? It's only important to you. So you shouldn't even offer that up as a reason. I know you're a little bit older, so I'm not going to go off on you too much. But you can continue.
Can I, Igal, this is what I think about your view.
You reject the idea that Jews have a right. Step out of the car.
these are my views. Okay, of course, they don't matter in the international arena because you and I don't count. But let's have a talk about it. So, first of all, the 1917 declaration, Balfour Declaration, which gave the Palestinian land to the Jews, was itself, not right in the sense that
No, the
two
Balfour,
Jewish people.
the Balfour Declaration did not say that Arabs should leave or have no right for a state. Just said the Balfour Declaration said in this land there will be a Jewish entity, but it did not negate the possibility there also will be an Arab entity.
Now, Igal, the Balfour Declaration. See, let's go back before Balfour Declaration. Palestine
What
was.
counts is the UN resolution because it
Can I have
not Britain decide about this, but the whole world by resolution. So
Mr. Igal, can you give me some time to explain my, then you can of course correct me. I would like to be corrected if I'm wrong. So please don't come off the mic. Let me complete. It will take a minute or so. Okay? The Balfour Declaration was signed between two Jewish persons without consultation with the indigenous population that was living in Palestine. Just because Palestine was under the control of the British do not get the right to decide about a land that was given to them as a trust. It was a trust that was breached. Now, the Balfour Declaration, of course, I read the Balfour Declaration. The Balfour Declaration mentions very clearly that the Arabs should not be destabilized or kicked out of their land. I agree with that. But who the hell is British people to decide that the land that was given to them to manage, they will give away to somebody else? So that is point number one. Point number two, let's fast forward to 1947 UN Resolution 181. UN Resolution 181, when it was introduced, it was not, the resolution itself was was not created in consultation with the Arabs or the Palestinians. No Palestinian was involved in the drafting of that resolution, even if we accept, even if we agree that it was an international, international rule-based creation of the country called Israel. Nobody consulted the indigenous population of Palestinians living in Palestine whether we can give away this land to this people and you will keep this land to yourself. Okay, that's point number two. Point number three, where I see a problem is that the Palestinian population was much bigger until 1947 than the Jewish population. But they gave much bigger proportion of land to the Jewish population because they expected a huge number of people from Europe and other places to come and settle down in Palestine. So they gave a much bigger chunk of the land to the Jews than to the Palestinians. Now,
okay,
when the resolution was
you
no,
so many points. May I answer?
Eagle, no, I'm just sharing my thought. I'm just sharing my thought and then I have to leave. No, I just completed because I have to leave. So I just why I think it is wrong. This is my explanation to you as to why I think it is wrong. You can continue to have a discussion with the others, but this is my fourth point.
I will answer
I have
very fast. From the end, the most of the land given to the Jews in the partition plan was the Negev desert. Was empty.
No. Eagle, I answered from my first point. My first point. No, Eagle. Hold on, Eagle. No, let's go from the first point. Did the British have the right to give away somebody's land to the Jews? Did they have the right without consulting the indigenous population? Please say yes or no. I'm talking about the Balfour Declaration. British or the world community consult the Palestinians about the partition of their land? As far as I know, they did not. What do you think? You don't want to answer that because you know the answers and it will be embarrassing for you. Number three, when the resolution itself was introduced, the division of the land was not fair. Do you agree or not?
No, I tell you why. Because most of the land given to the Jews was desert, Negev desert. Most of the populated land was given to the Arabs. So you know.
Even if okay, fine, I'm not right. Even if it was only desert that was given to them,
Not all,
why would you
most
give?
most of the land.
Okay, I take your point, but why would you give away 55% to a population which was not, which was a minority?
Planned to be because it was planned that many millions of Jews will come, and it
Ah,
since
yes.
since 48, 4 million Jews came to Israel.
yes. And these people, this is where we have to agree to disagree. You believe that they had a right to come and occupy this land. I don't believe that they had a right to come and occupy. Yes, you could have partitioned the land based on the present, the population that was then in Palestine. But you did not. You said you took much bigger share of land than given to the Palestinian indigenous population. That is the problem.
It was expected to be shelter for the Jews all over the world.
Why should
Refugees after
No.
the World War II.
no? If you are coming, let me give you one simple example, Iga. Step by step. Somebody comes into I give my house to somebody to take care of when I'm, you know, that person gives away my house to somebody else. Okay, let me accept that also. I mean, okay, it has happened, let's accept that. But then when you give away my house to somebody else, you are giving away much bigger chunk of the house to somebody else. And when they ask you, say, oh, I just gave your backyard. The front portion, which is the built-up area, is still yours. You can have it. No, that's not what I'm saying. If I had 10,000 square feet of home, and if you're going to divide it because two people whom I gave shelter, they want to have their own place, fine. Divide it according to the population. I have 10 children. 10, my family is 10. Your family is 2. But you're giving a much bigger share of that house to the two people and telling me to live in the smaller share for 10 people. Then let us take it one step further. Then what you are doing, after you say that you formed an agreement, which is in this case the resolution 181, there was a third part, which was an independent entity comprising of Jerusalem and Bethlehem. Jerusalem, from day one, has been occupied by Israel. Why does Israel occupy Jerusalem? It does not belong to Israel as per 181 that you just quoted. Even if you put all the blame on the feet of the Arabs for not accepting the resolution, why are you holding on to Jerusalem? Jerusalem is not Israeli as per the resolution 181. But you just took over Jerusalem and many other areas, and now you claim that they are all part of Israel.
Okay, only the Jewish part of Jerusalem was taken by Israel. Only the other part was part of Jordan. By the, do not forget that Jordan attacked.
No, forget about attacking. Entire Jerusalem was given to was supposed to become an independent entity along with Bethlehem and a few more areas. Okay? This is in the resolution. You know it and I know it. Even if the Arabs are at fault, Israel had no business to occupy Jerusalem as it occupies today.
It was the outcome of the war which we not
No. See, if you're talking about UN Resolution 181, you should not be bringing in the war. If you want to talk about the war, we can talk about the war. So you want to stick to UN 181 or you want to talk about what happened after the war? It's up to you. I'm ready to debate both. So if you're quoting, Eagle, this is my point. If you're quoting given in 181, then you have a legitimacy to talk about it. When you occupy lands that were not given to you in 181, then you don't have any legitimacy. The entire resolution has to be thrown out. That's what I think. Anyway, I have to go, so I'll be back in a while. If you are there, we'll continue this debate, but you can continue now with the others.
I just wanted to add that Amir put the link in the chat for the killings and massacres that occurred on both sides during, I believe like the time period we were talking about. So yeah, just wanted to provide sources.
I'm gonna put a link in there for the UN. Do you wanna read it to the room, please, Julian? Let's read it together.
What link?
A copy. I put the UN link in the chat, right? About the Nakba. Let's open it up. And I know you like to freaking, for some reason, when we're trying to have a conversation with the Zionists, you like to come in the middle when you don't have any knowledge about this whole
I
conflict.
do have
You like to
knowledge
come
of
up.
the
Hold on.
conflict.
No, you
That's
don't.
why I
No, you
that's
don't.
why I put the source
No, you
in
don't.
the
You
chat
do
as
not
well.
wanna. Hold on. So
Like,
are you?
like on the source side
Okay.
like that.
If I read you from the UN, are
Is
you
your
gonna
information
stop?
there?
Hold on. From the UN, are you gonna stop interrupting me moving forward?
What?
Because you don't have any knowledge when we are talking
I
about the
do
facts.
though.
No, you don't. Okay, let's talk. You want to read the UN report? Let's go over the UN.
Sure.
This is the problem I have with some of the people that come into the space when we're trying to tackle some some of those things. Get in there, but unfortunately we have people like you or people like Gossip or somewhere that want to come in the middle, come up the mic and start attacking.
How are we attacking? We're just saying,
Let's
it's
read.
the fact that it's
Are you gonna
sides
concede to
start
the point?
conflict.
If I read you from the UN, are you gonna concede to the point that it was the Jewish militia that started in 1947 after the partition? If I read you something out of the UN, would that sort of like make you like, okay, I'm good? It means it was the Jewish militia.
They cannot take account for the shit that they do. You blame it on everybody else. And then you think like, make your name
Are you serious? I am fucking
You're
talking.
responsible
I am
for your
talking,
fucking kickoff.
motherfucker.
It's not
Why
your
is Roger
Roger,
gone
it's
then?
you.
Why is
It's
Roger
you.
gone? Why is Roger
You
gone? Why is Roger gone?
violate the
Why is
terms
Roger
of
gone?
service.
Do you have to repeat yourself? Do you have to really
violate
repeat
clubhouse
yourself?
terms of service on a regular
And
fucking
Roger
basis.
did too,
And
because
when
Roger
you get
got
thrown off,
rebanned for
you
no
blame
fucking
people like
reason.
Roger and Kelly
And now
because
Kelly's
so
fucking
not a
next.
man, you cannot take
No.
ownership of your own shit. You're a
That is
5-year-old child,
bullshit, bro.
and you act like a fucking 5-year-old child, and you blame your shit on other people like a fucking baby.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
Unplug, you need to listen to Marshall. Okay, no, you're a crybaby. No, you're a crybaby. Shut up, cracker. Shut your fucking cracker mouth.
Fucking piece of shit.
Shut your goddamn, you peckerwood motherfucker. You shut the fuck up.
Take your dildo
You need to shut your goddamn mouth.
You do need to quit fucking
You're white trash. You're white fucking trash. You got kicked out of white society for being white trash. You white trash piece of shit. You white trash. You white speck of bird doo-doo on top of brown doo-doo. You're a dirty white man. Dirty white man.
Your cousin?
Marshall.
No. You get yourself kicked out of the house. You do it by violating the terms of service.
Fucking loser piece of shit.
Like,
You loser piece of fucking shit.
literally
You
no
loser
evidence
fucking
to
piece
get
of
you
shit,
off
Marshall.
because
You
you
are a
love to
loser
run
fucking
around
piece of shit.
blame other
They told me
people
themselves
for
they were
your
gonna do it.
Marshall's a nice, clean, white man.
blame us.
No, Marshall's a clean white man. No,
Yeah.
you're a dirty, disgusting white man. You're a dirty white man. You're white trash.
You don't get kicked off because Roger and Kelly sent a message. Number one, they never sent a fucking message. Number two, you get
You looking for a guy named Butt Plug, you white trash piece of shit. Suck a fucking dick. You fucking faggot. Go suck your wife's cock. Yeah, no, go suck your wife's booty, fucking cuck.
I'll play. It's really fucking simple. You obey the rules. When you don't obey the rules, you get kicked the fuck off. That's not Roger and Kelly's fault. That's your fault. You need to own that.
All right, so to recap, Vaughn, apparently, let me recap. he's hanging out on the black side is because he's got beef and been blackballed on the white side. And we just uncovered a hidden beef that's been going on for a minute. It's been white on white violence for the past 5-10 minutes. It's been going down. So that's your recap.
It's okay when you're
Yeah, and he's white trash. I mean, I apologize to all the black people. Many of you think that all white people are well behaved, but we do have these monkeys, these chimpanzees, that just cannot behave. There's low impulse control, stupid, monkey see, monkey do, give me a treat. You know, he's one of those white men. You know, I'm sorry, God created him. I didn't, you can't blame me, but we have to be honest with him. And I'll just land there.
It makes a lot of sense, you know. He's been hanging out over here pretty tight, made good buddy, chummy with his PhD, you know, so he gets a lot of passes. And a lot of people always wonder, why the hell are you over here? Why are you over here? You know, and this is a, you know, anybody can get it wrong. So now that's interesting to find out. He's been blackballed, and that's why he's over here. Very interesting. You're not entertained. What's up, Claude? You left and came back. I think you're busy. What's up, Trish? I see you want us to know you got on the honor roll. Congratulations.
Oh yeah, I had to come back for the excitement.
Man, you missed it. It was going down. I'm gonna tell you.
Pepper in the new line.
Yeah.
What happened to Rob? Usually Rob be going in.
I think PhD. Like everything. Like, I don't know. Like.
No, it's because of the Jews. She's not going out the Jews. It has nothing to do with you.
No, I think it bothered her because she brought it up in like rooms later. She was like bringing it up, like obviously this bothered her.
Yeah, that goes how, that's just what it is. Religious people don't like the blasphemy of the Jews. That's just what it is. No Christian, no Muslim, no one who's religious appreciates the blasphemy that comes with the Jew. It's just very simple. It's just very, I don't know why you're complicating it. It's not personal. It has nothing to do with you. That's what I'm saying. It has nothing to do with you personally.
It does have something to do with all of us.
As Jews.
As human beings.
Only Jews do this.
As human beings.
They're wasting everybody's damn time. That's just what it
I
is.
just like B's yoga pictures. That made my day. I PTR'd it because you took my picture and put it on Instagram before, like my face picture. So I wore your face for just a little bit. I think it's great. You know, Amir, I think, wanted to talk shit about you, and I just said I love the picture. I thought it was so aesthetically, like,
They're everywhere.
my brain is ADHD, so I live on that frequency of random.
Do you understand why it's very difficult to sympathize with you?
In what sense? What should we be?
In all senses.
Bernie, you know what you got that, Joyce.
Yeah.
I don't need sympathy.
I actually have bad days. It's not like I'm just here bitching and moaning and being annoying and then.
I don't think she's bitching, right? I think she's just trying to get something
Well, it's like
just
she's bitching and moaning and she's ADHD and jumping from one thing to another. It's just so much. Nigga, it's very simple. If this app weighs on your soul, you should leave this app for a while, recover, and then come back. I told you that like a month ago when you were like freaking out over the same dumb shit. I'm just letting you know.
Oh, or people saying shit about my family and my son.
it doesn't matter what it is. If for whatever reason it weighs on your soul, just you need to withdraw, dude. This app is not gonna make your mental health any better. Period. And if this app gets to you, you are the problem. That's what I'm saying. So you need to withdraw.
I mean, I will say from personal experience, Danny, I've actually had times where I've taken like 3-month breaks from the app, you know, just to sort of, just.
Exactly.
And then when you come back, it's like, all that stuff is cleared, and then there's all sorts of new stuff going on. Not saying you have to do that. I'm just saying
Well,
for me
you
personally.
saw what you should do it because you saw how Nora cracked. You're gonna crack.
I'm definitely
not. Yes,
Yeah.
you are. Because this app.
Unless you want to MK Ultra me, I'm good. I got the microwave unplugged, so you could try.
Motherfucker, you need to get your ass unplugged and stop smoking weed.
I did.
Shit.
Maybe that's why I'm crying.
No, you're crying because you have a certain mental health situation, and I'm just telling you this app won't make it
You're
better.
not supposed to be crying with a mental health association.
Yes, there is, of course. Motherfucker, if this app makes you cry, there is something. Can you just agree?
Have you ever cried? And who said I'm crying because of that?
Didn't you just say that it's... I mean, you're everywhere, that's the thing, so I don't even know
that, and I'm allowed to be everywhere.
Okay, yeah, you have the right to be everywhere. It just makes it difficult to sympathize with you. That's all I'm saying.
I don't need your sympathy.
No, you don't need it, but you do want it. Otherwise, you wouldn't talk about this shit.
Please not. Let's just go back to having fun. Let's not be in bed.
No, come on, super chill. Look, I'm as happy as it can get. I'm just letting you know. I will give you only what you need, Danny. I won't give you what you want. I'll give you what you need. And what you need is the truth. If this app pisses you off.
Wait. Should we ask B how many people are on YouTube watching us?
Who cares?
I do. I'm asking.
Is there another one of John Kitover?
That's right.
That's John B. I think, is B a big fan of you? I forget.
I love John Kitover.
I think John's cool in the yoga pictures.
Me too. I only don't like the fact that he's a military man. That's it.
Why?
I don't respect veterans.
I do. You should.
Well, you can respect whoever you want. I don't respect veterans. Shit.
I don't respect people that look like they're from the Church of Satan.
So, Rabbi, who's your favorite head of state in all history?
Trump. Oh, actually.
No,
I like.
he's not a military man.
Yeah. I like.
Like I had a grandpa, they're isolationists. You get people that are, let's say like white nationalists, they're ethnocentrists, that are basically willing to, I don't know, I guess weather the storm. Now, when it comes to America.
Hold on, did you say poly? Did I hear poly in there?
I didn't say poly.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. I'm thinking poly, but go ahead.
But there is like a geopolitical game where in order for America to remain a dominant superpower across the world, we're going to have to take in people that are going to, I guess you could say ethnically or racially replace us to an extent, and they're going to, I don't know, a lot of them are going to be brain drain immigrants.
Yeah,
You're going to get your.
Yeah, let me put a pin in you real quick, right? Because I'm hearing poly for a reason. That's the solution. That's the solution to, like you guys keep talking about, right? The conversation keeps going back to the birth rate sinking, right? Once they restore polygamy and polygyny, which they will, right? That will change in one generation. You don't think that that's like flirting on their minds? You don't think that's why there's all this hinting to Mormon culture and pop culture, right? Men want multiple wives. There are men who can do it. And if they did that, then that would solve the issue, don't you think?
Not really, because the one thing that you get with when it comes to polygamy is that, so for example, we can even look locally here in Arizona. We have Colorado City, Arizona, where the FLDS, they're an offshoot of the Mormons. So you get the old men with money that basically, they have the money and the resources, but they have to oftentimes violently or in a threatening manner shoo off the men, the young men, because they're looked at as competition. And we can look at the Middle East where this is practiced, and it's always created a lot of instability. Like the most dangerous, and I mean this literally, the most dangerous demographic of individuals in the world are young men. They're the ones, if they don't have anything to live for or strive for, they don't have any power or opportunity, they can, what do they have to lose? They are going to wreak absolute havoc. And if you look even like with ISIS, as barbaric as they were, these were mostly disenfranchised young men that didn't have wives where they came from or access to women. And they could do like unspeakable acts of violence. And so I don't think that's the way forward.
What do you think the solution is?
What is he talking about?
It keeps coming up, the topic of basically how people aren't making enough kids, essentially, which is why we have to import or bring in migrants to essentially replace us.
Do y'all have kids that are making up this topic point? I know not y'all has kids.
Well, I mean, okay, so you have, if you bring in people, inevitably, if you get people that are just like that, they're unwilling.
You're gonna have some kids.
Amazing. It's such a nice, complicated.
Amazing is crazy.
Answer.
That's what the bootstrappers tell us. Just lift your bootstraps. Go have some kids.
Yeah, you know what's really funny is that the African American, which is I'm talking about the FBAs, not the total black population of the United States. I believe our birth rate is like something like 1.5 something per every woman, and then with blacks it's like 1.6, 1.7. You guys are below.
Man, can you say black
replacement levels? Well, no, hold on, but the FBAs are at below replacement levels. Like you guys literally don't have replacement birth rates either. So I guess I can say that both of us can pick ourselves up by the bootstraps since we're both in the same situation.
They're gonna have some babies. It's pretty much that simple.
Okay, but you people aren't having babies either.
I have 3, so.
Yeah, but your people are not having babies at above replacement birth rate.
That man's like laying booby traps. Go off. I'm digging it.
Well, but I mean, this is
What
why.
booby trap could he be laying? He's not.
Okay, but the booby trap is
the birth rate is declining. The birth rate
yes,
is declining.
and it's declining for who else?
In
Foundational Black Americans.
America.
In America, it's declining for
Are
Black.
we Americans? Are we
Yeah, we're both Americans. So
The birth rate is declining for Americans.
yes, we agree.
Is whether it's black or white, we're Americans, right?
Yeah.
This is a uniquely American thing. So you can ask yourself, why is this? Is it because things are getting far too expensive for people and wages aren't growing to match that? Or we gonna blame it on the immigrants?
No, I think it's kind of neither. I think that if you look at highly industrialized countries like Eastern Asia, Europe, North America, and of course we can look at the Anglosphere like Australia, New Zealand, and so forth. We all see the same fucking pattern. The people that live there that are natively born, whether they're white or not, their birth rates have plummeted. And financial
Could it be that we have a higher gay population now? Could that also factor into it?
Nope.
You don't think that's factoring into it? So is it that people are just not wanting to have children? Is it that women are now having, choices? They're not being forced to stay in marriages they don't want to be in?
Well, if being forced to stay in marriages you didn't want to be in would actually kind of like help her, to be honest. But I mean, I'm against that. But and a lot of people don't realize this. If you look at the divorce rate between for whites and blacks, if we were to go back to the 1960s, divorce was like super low for blacks and for whites.
Black people and white people. I can't listen to no white person say blacks, dog. I'm trying to have a talk with you. Just
yeah,
say
but black people and white people, black people and white people.
I'm dying. Go ahead.
But black people and white people had like abysmal divorce rates, like 1960s and prior. But there's a lot of things that happened. 1940s, you started to have the Great Migration out of the South, and black people. A lot of them, they were religious, conservative, Southern people. They had tight-knit communities. If you were to try to get a divorce or something like that, you would be shunned in your community, just like in the white community. The culture has changed significantly since those times for both the white community and the black community. I don't have an answer for this. But obviously the change is there.
And to me, the changes are very clear. Whether I'm just going by what changes are. Women could make more money. They could work. No contest divorce ended. Women could get bank accounts. Vietnam War. War on drugs. Quite a few significant things as to why the marriage rate would decline. But I think the real reason it is declining ultimately is because, and I'm not blaming this on women by no means. I actually think this is a good thing for if you were in a marriage that you were being abused and all that. But I think it's the fact that women have more rights.
I do think that there. No, I agree, and I do think that this is a double-edged sword. When women were stripped of the more women are stripped of autonomy, the more it's probably better for birth rates. But okay, I'm just if I want to value.
What is it? Are we concerned that like we're gonna die out or something like that?
No, that's not what I'm saying. But like if you.
Are we just concerned that we're gonna lose like American dominance?
Well.
As to why the obsession with birth rate.
Western dominance.
I'm gonna say American because the bulk of these countries in the West ain't really winning. Would y'all agree?
No,
is Guatemala in the West?
No, we're still like by far the most dominant.
Yeah, and the reason why the other countries, because if you look, they allow too much segregation. They allow too many Arabs to come. Like France right now, London, I think even has a Arab mayor. Like that
that's just crazy. Like, so I get what Pepe's saying. You know, it's you let too many people from other countries come in, the countries start to look different.
Hey, you know, when you choose an imperialist agenda for 200-300 years, this is what's gonna happen.
Not necessarily. It's so okay. When it comes to it's like a revenge fantasy in a way. There's like, and that kind of ties into like DEI. I hate to bring it up, but like it kind of goes more back to like conflict theory and a lot of the shit you would see in the Frankfurt School. Like, yes, I mean, we can look at what Western nations have done. They conquered, exploited other groups of people. Yes, we all fucking know that. We're not going to deny that. Is that the reason, though, the driving factor in reality for why people come, like to the United States, for example, is no longer, the majority of them have not been Mexican since Biden has been in office. They've been people from, Kazakhstan, China, Africa, the Middle East, everywhere. And there's push and draw factors anywhere, everywhere. And in the United States, they want to come here because it's like, where do you have the chance of, especially economically,
I mean, they want to come here. I could imagine why an immigrant would want to come here if you're in a place, if you're in a third world country, if you're in a place where it's a dictator, if you're in a war-torn situation, and America is supposedly the beacon of hope for the world, it would make sense why you would want to get here.
But even if we look at like 20 years ago, Mexico didn't have a dictator, but it was financially far worse off than it was in the United States.
Well, that's why.
So
that's why
you can come here and you can work off.
I just said war-torn. Mexico.
But Mexico wasn't war-torn.
Think about this. That's around the height of the Sinaloa cartel 20 years ago.
The height of the Sinaloa cartel was like literally like 3 or 4 years ago.
No, we're talking about 2000.
Literally was.
2004.
No, that was the fucking Zetas. No, that was the Zetas.
The Zetas were after the Sinaloa cartel.
No, the Sinaloa cartel's been around longer. You had the Gulf cartel, and then you had. Hold on a second, but you're mistaken because even if we look at the cartel, the Tijuana cartel, the Cali cartel, as they would call them. They were dominant in the early 2000s, and then the Sinaloa cartel has always been a dominant force. But then you have the Zetas, which were they were the militant armed, basically the enforcers for the Gulf cartel. They ended up branching off. They ended up forming their own cartel, the Zetas, and then they got cracked down very.
Which again, the Zetas started popping out around the late 2010s, early 2010s. We started seeing them names like that. Like I said, Sinaloa cartel was 20 years ago. I don't know how old you are, Pepe. Nor do I know your ties to the streets. But outside of that, the Sinaloa cartel.
But even in the 2010s, the Sinaloa cartel.
The murders were going crazy.
Sure, but the Sinaloa cartel, even throughout the 2010s, they were the ones that were the predominant suppliers of narcotics in the United States.
This is true. And all I said was the Zetas came after the Sinaloa cartel. That's all I said. The Sinaloa cartel, again, we know from the 2000s and up, we know they've pretty much been the preeminent cartel out of Mexico. Prior to that, you got like you say, what's my guy's name? Can't think of the name right now, but you know what we're talking about.
Oh, Chapo.
What I was saying was before Chapo, what's the guy that was his boss man?
Zambada.
I can't think of his name, but the point is, what I stated was there were a myriad of reasons why somebody would leave. Mexico was not under a dictator. I think that was Vicente Fox was the president during that time period, about 20 years ago.
Yep.
So the dictator thing wouldn't
but the war torn, the drugs running that area, that's why a lot of people have fled Mexico. You know where I'm from and live at?
Well, I'm from Arizona, so both of them.
I'm from so you would have an understanding of it too. I'm from Houston, Texas. Then you know that a lot of people are fleeing because of the drug issue.
Not necessarily, and I'll tell you why. If you were looking at the height of the Mexican immigration, and which includes illegal immigration, that was going to take place in the 1990s and the early 2000s, right before the height of the drug war in Mexico. And if we fast forward to Biden's administration, the majority of the people that have been coming in have not been Mexican. They've been
they're Central American.
Central, Southern American, and everybody. But yeah, obviously Central and Southern Americans have been the majority.
Those countries are far less stable than Mexico. We understand that. That doesn't mean that people weren't leaving because of the motherfucking drug wars.
I mean, I would say that, like, so I've been in Mexico from when I was a kid to, it's been in my adult life. There's drastic changes that have happened there. The drug wars have brought a lot of, like, insane violence to the northern Mexico near the border, which generally were not unsafe places to be. But at the same time, you did have, like, more extreme poverty, like 20 years ago, where it was definitely dangerous if you look like you have something that could be stolen from you, that you were wearing or carrying. Which I would say is kind of like less the case now. Economically they're doing better, but it's the cartel violence is definitely way worse in the north compared to 20 years ago.
Y'all lost me. I don't know what the hell you're talking about, but I'm glad you're having a good discourse. What's up, PhD?
Yeah, well, man, I'm gonna be sick to my stomach tomorrow if the Eagles win the Super Bowl.
So who's playing? The Eagles in Kansas City?
Yes, ma'am.
Alright, Mr. Sean.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you doing a Super Bowl party tomorrow here, PhD, or what?
Wow. When you get married, you just kind of,
Never mind. Never mind.
Wait. Most people, we had a Super Bowl party tomorrow. Most people should be on Clubhouse tomorrow.
We on Clubhouse every day, Omari. We don't care what day.
We Clubhouses. This is what it is. I accept this about a year ago.
Man, I'll probably have to log it out. I'll be honest with you.
No, we
Somebody said, man.
Alright, so Clubhouse Super Bowl party here is.
Facts.
That's what it is.
Yes. Let's do it.
No, I'm already at a party, but
I got a barbecue bag.
I'm serving the food tomorrow, and I'm bringing my hibachi out, so I'm actually working. It ain't like I'm just bringing pans.
Making that famous rice.
I'm bringing nachos.
Yeah, no, that ain't the whole salt fried rice experience. So I got a friend of mine who made me a brisket.
You make that rice like they do it. That rice like they do it.
I'm jealous.
I fry the rice. Look, let me explain to you. Regardless of how it tastes, I fry it just like the Asians fry it.
And how is that?
It's literally no different. I don't like sticky fried rice. Me personally. Key to not here. But the key.
There's a difference between Chinese fried rice and Japanese fried rice.
But no, there's a difference. That's why I said the Asians. There's a commonality of all fried rice though. And the commonality is you can't fry freshly cooked rice. You gotta let it sit for a day. Maybe a little less, but definitely about a day. Let it sit so it dries up well. Then you fry it with whatever you want to use.
Okay, Marcus.
Certain people use different. Certain people use different type of rice.
You said Martha
I
Stewart.
prefer long grain and James. Long grain, hey. Martha Stewart, a gangster.
You got that yum yum. You got that yum yum sauce.
Alright, not that
I make my own sauces. I make my own sauces, PhD. So, whereas I do use Asian like seasonings to a degree, the whole point is to merge soul food and Asian cuisine. And whether that's seasoning, whether that's vegetable, I mean, how they prepare their food is not really that different from how soul food is prepared. If you think
I'm actually
about it.
curious how this would
chili
taste.
dog. What'd you say?
What you say?
I said I'm just curious how this would taste. I've never had a fusion of Asian and soul food.
Well, now my company is called Soul Fried Rice. It's pretty
Like
simple.
Soul Korea, or Soul like Brother Soul Man?
No, like I'm a nigga. I'm a nigga.
Or
Why would I have Soul Korea?
because there is a Soul Korea. That would make more sense.
What I got to do with Soul Korea?
What do soul food got to do with Korea? What is this?
They make a lot of fried chicken. They learn from us. They learn from us. Yeah.
Okay, Rob.
Did Korean barbecue actually like have any roots in American or I guess you could say African American barbecue? I'm not. I know I've never had it before, but I know a lot of people like it, but I just don't know.
Yes, the Korean one. The fried chicken.
That's why he in the Matrix.
The Korean
You
one.
finna lie.
We better lie.
You finna lie. Look, see, that's why he.
Boy, Tay, I ain't seen Tay in a minute. What up, Tay?
Who?
Hey, Tay and the Goo, I already invited them. They gonna come over.
Boy, Tay, man.
Tay.
He was a lie. Anyway, Pepe, it has to do with look up Afro-Asiatic, okay? And that's why, because and if you know anything about the Koreans, they damn near black.
They did the partition. It talks about after, they're denied, it was against the UN Charter, it was the Jewish militia start going from different villages, village to ethnically cleanse them. But Julian brings up, I have a different perspective, there was a British, there was this, I don't really give two fucks, it's the UN that did this. And I take it from the UN. I'm not gonna take it from fucking, British or this and that.
Amir, this is like bringing up some paper from the local high school Palestinian club or whatever, the fucking being like, oh my god, this proves that the ethnic cleansing or whatever so and so happened because of the Jews or whatever. I mean, this article is framed so dishonestly. I doubt the entire UN even looked at this article.
Can you please read the link on the top? What's the website address?
Linktree.
No, not my website. I'm talking about the link that I posted. Did it have a UN in there? .org?
Yeah, it wasn't like
the link at the top is Linktree.
No, I'm not talking about at the top. I'm talking about the one that I read it. Jack read it from the UN website.
It's the United Nations official website, yeah.
Yeah, so is it an official UN website, Julian, or is it like some crazy Wikipedia or Haaretz or like a Times of Israel or some other, crazy shit show, who did the partition? Was it the UN?
Wikipedia isn't crazy.
Who did the partition? Was it the UN or Wikipedia?
Doesn't matter.
When you talk about the part, this guy is such a dishonest man.
I think
add a lot more.
This article is dishonest.
I appreciate you. So during the initiation of this partition, before people voted on it, there was a lot of pressure from Zionist Jews actually in the United States who put pressure on the Democratic Party to put pressure literally on other countries to vote in favor for it, which is pretty crazy. I was even reading Zionist launched intense White House lobby to have the UN plan endorsed, and effects were not trivial. Democratic Party, a large part of whose contribution came from Jews, informed Truman that failure to live up to the promises to support Jews in Palestine would constitute danger to the party. The defection of Jewish voters in the congressional elections in '46 had contributed to electoral losses. Truman, according to Roger Cohen, embittered by feelings of being hostage to the lobby and its unwarranted interference, which he blamed for the contemporary impasse. And it just goes into basically how basically American Jews got the United States president to pressure a bunch of other countries to vote for this plan. And it seems like they're successful in doing that. Whether it's Philippines, Liberia, Haiti, France, Venezuela at the time. That was kind of coming from lobbies in the United States, which sucks, but yeah, it's those same lobbies are still very active in the United States. I've heard recordings of Nixon complaining about it, many other presidents, but nowadays they've just kind of accepted it, and they just take their money and they have no problem voting for whatever the fuck Israel wants.
Wow, American Jews advocate for something that benefited them. How tyrannical. I wish blacks had that mindset.
He just said, I wish blacks had that mindset. Julian,
yeah.
you're a fucking
This is how queers act.
I didn't even say lobbying was a bad thing.
What's a blacks, Julian?
I think you know the blacks is.
Well, you know what's crazy?
Like the queers, right?
97% of African Americans vote for the same party. Like, they're very united. And they have lobbying.
You're a racist piece of shit. The only reason you don't like the Palestinians is because they're Muslims and you think they hate all the LGBTQ. The only thing you care about is the LGBTQ.
She was so
That's the only
delighted
thing
with
you
the
care
nugget
about.
and so afraid of losing it that taking it home in the car.
You don't care about the women, you don't care about the children there, you don't care about any of that.
If you say so.
He hates women. This is Zionist. How could he possibly care about that?
Of course he hates women. You hate women because we're your competition, that's why.
Not really.
Zionist.
Anyways, I think, and then how do we compare the Nazism versus the Zionism, right? I actually have a pretty good article on this, how Nazism is Zionism, right? They both wanted a state for themselves, and there's a lot of similarities, right? They did not want, the Nazi wanted self-determination, just, only his people, whatever.
Chosen people.
Not chosen people, and same thing inside the Jewish state, the chosen people. Caston, did you want to say something? I haven't heard from you. Caston, are you there?
Oh, just listening.
You're just listening? Are you from the pro-Pali or pro-Israeli side?
Probably pro-Israeli.
You're pro-Israeli? Okay. How much do you love Israel? Do you love it? Really too much, or is it like a little bit here and there?
I wouldn't say love, just support it.
Okay. Would you say that, so if there was a vaccine out there, right, to get rid of the Zionism disease, would you take it, Caston?
No.
I think all the Zionists, we need to come up with a vaccine, right, just like for COVID-19. It's a virus and it's a disease, right? And I actually want to free Israelis from the Zionism, because if they free themselves from the Zionism, I think that would be the end of Zionism. And that means everybody will have equal rights, no more killings, no more, no more expansion, no more colonizing, nothing,
You should also
That would
worry,
actually-
like, as an American, on the the influence that the Zionist lobbies have on our internal politics, not just like foreign policy, but also
Oh, 100%.
the resolutions that they've been able to pass in Congress, which no foreign nation has been able to do. Even our strongest allies to pass, legislation that limits your freedom of speech and adopts the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism and anti-PDS laws. And I think 36 states. Sometimes we need to keep allies as allies, but not necessarily let them dictate our internal,
There are a lot of it.
policies.
There's actually a lot of lobbies in the United States. There's lobbies for the core industry, the oil industry. I think that's probably more. I didn't know that was Zionist talking points about how there's thousands of lobbies in the United States. For example, the oil industry is probably way more crazy than any
But
other.
the problem is it's not a what about thing either, because there are
And it's a what about it?
It kind of is a lot about argument.
Yeah, let's see, you from Gaston, what would you have to say, Ken?
That got a little dark, don't you think? I mean,
I talked about black women's appearance.
No, I wasn't talking about black women.
Yeah.
No, but I wasn't. I was legitimately not talking about black women.
Talking about the Dutch settlers in South Africa.
No. I was specifically talking about a specific group of black women in Africa. Okay, why back ass to freaking Nigerian women? Because they're a lot bigger than black women. So again, I was specifically not speaking about black women because I was defending black women and saying that those said African women are wide back ass freaking ox animals. So I mean, it is what it is.
But here's the thing,
I mean, it is what it is.
I mean, you got some African women look identical to Black Americans.
No, you don't.
I mean, that's not true.
No, you don't.
That's what you do.
No, you don't.
The thing is that you have.
When them hoes take them wigs off, they look African.
Honestly, when I looked at Jazzy, I thought honestly, when I looked at Jazzy, I was like, okay, is Jazzy mixed with like, indigenous freaking like Latino like Americans that I grew up with, like Mexican Americans in freaking California? Like Jazzy looked like a black version of indigenous people. So it's kind of one of those things where there is a difference in the way that people look. Like, I mean, Iman, for example. You know what I mean? Iman is like a freaking Somalian woman. Somebody that looks like Jazzy, and somebody that looks like, Jazzy, and somebody that looks like Iman, both beautiful women, are completely different in their features. Do you see what I'm saying? So there is a difference.
Accepting you're a minority is crazy.
Okay, so let's throw in Amber Rose, for example. She's Cabo Verdean.
Yeah.
That's African. So, I mean, have you guys ever looked up people who look like Cabo Verdean? They look like my freaking mom. Like Amber Rose. Like, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, I mean, it's Cabo Verdean. I mean, it's one of the language, But I mean, no, I'm not saying that my mom is Amber Rose. I'm saying that, like, it's kind of one of those things where, like, African people in different places look different. You know what I mean? Like, look at freaking. Shut up, Jackie. Shut the fuck up. Like, my whole point is just like, y'all need to look and just like look at different people in different places. Like, you know what I mean? Like everybody that says that these people are black, like look at Aboriginals in freaking in freaking Australia. Look at people like the Machi Indians in freaking Colombia going from Panama into Colombia. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, no, all black people are not the same. And to be very honest with you, I personally feel like a lot of Jazzy's people and a lot of black indigenous people in the same and like kind have basically been pushed
from, those Aztec, a lot of.
Killing UN ambassador is Julian.
Wow, I learn something new every day. That's crazy.
Yeah. He was assassinated by the Jewish terrorists.
Yeah. So don't ever let him get away with this stupid narrative that the
That
Jews
wasn't
are
my narrative, okay?
I didn't say you, did I? Mute up. It's the Jews were
No, you were addressing me or you not woman.
They wanted more, and they killed the UN. And
Hey,
you know what?
I got a question. Whenever
I'm
there's
gonna add
chance.
one more thing.
Yes, Sister Serena, I'm just saying, let him respect the women. He keeps calling women, like, you're his sister or his mom. Don't talk to your sister or your mom like that. Don't talk to her sister.
Yeah, he's nothing. His words mean nothing. I just want to learn something else I learned from talking to Nathan on this app. Remember Nathan used to come in our spaces? I looked into it. What happened was the group who murdered him, they were the Lehi gang, who later, absorbed into the IDF. The Israelis made a big show, like you said, how the Swedes and the UN were mad. They were like, how dare you kill our UN diplomat? So the Jews made a big show, just once. Sorry about that. They made a big show of it by rounding up the Lehi gang members who were, suspected of carrying out the murder. And then they, put them in jail for a short time and then let them out. But 30 years later, they rewarded the leader of the Lehi gang with the prime minister's seat of Israel. So he later became the prime minister. So that's no, I don't know his name. His name starts with Yitzhak something. Isn't that wild? No, not Rabin. I'll tell you guys. He had, I think, one stint. I'll put it in the chat. Because that's what El Normo and them say. They're like, yeah, those were terrorists. We did. No. Was he a terrorist if you later rewarded him, his group, the leader of the group, being the prime minister? So this is these Jews, like, they're so cunning. These Zionist Jews who stole the land there, they set up all these narratives. If you do a little bit of Googling, a little bit of reading, none of it matches up. None of it.
A little bit of reading. The Jews were there first. What are you talking about?
Where were they there first?
Well, are you talking about Judaism versus Islam?
Today's Jews, when were they there?
Also, Lee, this Broad Wednesdays and your sister either she's a Spaniard.
Muslim sister.
I'm a Muslim. I'm a Muslim first, bro.
So what religion came first, Judaism or Islam?
That sounds like a troll.
Well, a lot of the Palestinians who live in Palestine.
I think it was Hinduism. Actually, it was Hinduism that came first, before Judaism.
No, it came first, but between the two religions, what came first?
Authoritarian came first,
The
actually.
Palestinians used to
Islam came first since Adam.
Judeans, like they were there before. If you look at DNA, all the Palestinians have Levantine DNA from Palestine since the ancient times. And it's even higher in Palestinian Christians.
Yeah, Arabs.
Right.
Yeah, that's a people, but I'm talking about the religion.
Do you know what Arabization is?
I'm not talking about the people, I'm talking about the religion.
Forget the religion. The people convert into religion. Yes, people convert into Christianity. When Christianity came around, who were Christianity's first followers? Carson. Who's Christianity's first follower?
You're not answering my question.
You're not understanding the concept of a people who live in a region, but they change religions. The people of that region, Palestine, Israel, they didn't always follow Judaism. Before Judaism, they followed something else. But eventually they converted into Judaism. Eventually they converted into Christianity. It doesn't mean that Arabs came in and they took that land. No, those people, when the Arabs conquered Jerusalem, they became Arabized. Some converted to Islam. Some stayed Christian. Some stayed Jewish. Do you understand?
Yeah, but the conflict is between religions, right?
It's not. No. But
got nothing to do with it.
Let me
Wait, just one second. If it was, Jack, I just want to. I'm just
let me explain this, bro.
I heard you. I'm just saying, like, this idea that it's, a Muslim, versus Jewish thing. If it was, you would have 2 billion people inside Gaza right now fighting, which you don't. This is if you're not a religious person, you can look at it like, property rights. You can look at it from a human rights point of view. You can look at it from, just justice. They're not following international rights. They're not following international rule. The UN, so many resolutions were, passed because of this. Israel's not, abiding by any of them. They have Gaza under siege for the last, 17 years. So it has nothing to do with religion. They're just saying, oh, religion, because that's the low-hanging fruit, but it has nothing to do with religion.
Well, what are the religious practices in Gaza?
Let me
Why does that matter? It doesn't have to do anything with religion.
Just a second.
I think it does.
Carson, before, you know what?
There's a T in there. Read the name.
Carlson. Caston, my bad. Do you know when Hamas came around?
Is it 02 or something like that?
No, it was the late 80s, right? Before Hamas came around in the late 80s, Palestinians have been fighting against Zionist occupation.
Why? That's my exact point. Why were they fighting? What was going on?
Let me give you some context so you understand it a little better, please. The Palestinians have been fighting Zionism even before the State of Israel was created. It wasn't a religious thing. It was simply these people are moving into our land and illegally immigrating here in big numbers because they follow this, not even a religious movement. Zionism is more of a secular movement, especially at the time. Theodor Herzl didn't believe in God. The Palestinians utterly rejected this movement because it was a threat to their state, their peoplehood, which clearly it's a valid threat. But it wasn't just Muslims fighting against Christians, or Muslims fighting against Jews. The Muslims and the Christians and the non-Jews were all threatened by Zionism. That's why when you look at all the Palestinian resistance movements prior to the late 80s and the rebels, Hamas, none of them had any religious connotation at all, not one. Even, the PFLP, which was the most radical group, was led by George Habash. He was a Palestinian Christian. His family in 1948 was attacked by the Irgun, the Zionist terrorist group, according to the U.S. and the UK governments.
And Israel.
They shot not Israel. They shot his sister in the face, right? And they forced him and the rest of his family to flee to Lebanon. So it's not necessarily, he's a Christian man, right? Just as many other Palestinian leaders before him and resistance leaders before him. Because they're not fighting for Christian nationalism. They're fighting for their land and trying to get back what was taken from them, right? And I think anyone can kind of relate to that. If someone comes to your house and says, hey, we're taking more than half of this, I'm sure you wouldn't take too kindly to that. There was Jews in Palestine prior to the Zionist movement. They were about 7% of the population, right? They were a minority. It doesn't mean that the Muslims and Christians had all came in from different, countries over a period of time. Those Muslims and Christians have always been Palestinian. They've always been in that territory of Palestine since before the Romans, since the ancient Judea, all this shit. They just converted into different religions. It's the same people. It's not because they hate Jews. It's just these Jewish people came with a movement that sought to displace them. And that's it.
Yeah, Caston, do you know that there's churches in Gaza?
There's churches there.
Caston, are you an atheist?
We got bombs, but
I think Jack just, first of all, well said, Jack. And I think this guy can't troll well. So,
Well, you're talking about Christians, but I'm talking about Judaism.
Justin, are you?
Iran versus Islam.
What does that have to do with
Are you
Judaism was around long before Christianity.
Justin, are you an atheist?
Not sure.
Or not, Julian, I did not ask you, but why are you answering from Caston?
I was talking about what
Caston
Caston said.
Yeah, Caston, are you an atheist?
Judaism wasn't around before Christianity.
Caston, are you an atheist?
No, I already said no.
Are you a Jew?
Negative.
And what religion do you come from? Christianity?
I don't have a religion. Imagine
So
that.
you're an atheist. You don't believe in the existence of God, right?
No, I never said that.
So you're agnostic or an atheist?
It's undefinable.
How is it undefinable? Do you believe in a creator?
Maybe if there is one.
Okay, then in other words, you don't believe that there's anybody that created you, so you...
Are more talkative than companions. Otherwise, when you go to the church service, if you're a Protestant, you accept the main bench to the throne, and also the minister's prayer, often more or less spontaneously, takes God out of control of the universe. And if you're a Catholic, you respect Mass, which has now been translated into English so that everybody can supposedly understand it, and is thereby being degraded from what Hindus call mantra, the use of sound for meditation, to merely instructive prayer. We are very verbose in our religion, and because of that, it's all words, words, words. And only rarely does this help us to transform our consciousness. And this is more and more people are realizing is the important thing. Because we discover this, that our extremely powerful technologies are magnifiers or amplifiers. When we do what we will, and think we desire, with capacity, we are, as it were, blowing up our images to the last performance. And many of us are beginning to realize that we don't know. We discover ourselves to be beings that are hostile to the environment, that are bent on dominating it to the point of destruction. We don't feel at home in the universe. We feel that our skin, at the very least, is the boundary between a palpitating, sensitive consciousness that's terrified of what's outside, and terrified of a good deal that's inside, like bacteria and cancer cells. So we have this very thing that Lancelot White called the European dissociation. Feeling of oneself as a prisoner, involuntarily so, in a hostile world. It does not give a damn about our needs. And therefore, when news comes from all about, whether it be from the Orient, or whether it be from experiments with synthetic drugs, when news comes that this feeling of our own existence may be a hallucination, people put up their ears. And would like to know, is there some other mode of consciousness which one can be in, which is not this energy, So this pathway through the Constitution. That is often their citizen. Now this is the starting point of the fascination for yoga, Rajan, and also for the Taoist forms of meditation, which are much less known. But there arise problems about this when we are going to convey these disciplines to Western people. Because Western people who are interested are actually very interested. Whereas on the other hand, in culture, where things of this kind have been known for thousands of years, there is a tendency for them to become rather roguish. And therefore, the way of teaching these disciplines, which many Asian teachers use, are designed not for mature adults, but for relatively young people who are not interested in learning. In other words, when a kind of religion, let's take the case of Zen Buddhism, or in Chinese it is called Chan, when after some years pious people have followed these disciplines and learned to enjoy them, they have a way of telling their children, you ought to enjoy this too, see? And we would like you to go to the monastery. And furthermore, when there's the superstitious feeling that raising a son to be a monk or a priest redounds to our own good merit, more sons intended to be preserved. It's the same in Catholic countries. It was the same among the British in the Anglican Church during the 18th century. The first son was founded as law, or the Anglican Council of the Church of Britain. The second son was the Knight, the third son was the King. And it is a matter of they have no real interest. They have not really do it. For something, they will study out of filial duty to their parents. And especially in these days in Japan, when in order to inherit your father's temple, you have to go to the monastery and take the Zen training. It becomes a matter of some urgency. So you have a lot of unwilling young men, sometimes young women, learning the meditative disciplines under the supervision of ecclesiastical taskmasters who are everywhere in the world exactly the same. I attended from the ages of 13 to 17 an ecclesiastical boys' boarding school in India. I can assure you I heard nothing. We were very sternly disciplined in the same way as Zen monks are disciplined in Japan today. And it just strikes me as funny that I have what I call the 18 days school of Zen, in which one sits in Zazen for an unnecessarily long time till one gets paralyzed. And then people come back from Japan or from anywhere and brag about how their legs hurt, as if it was something extremely very difficult. And you know, they bend themselves for the shoulder. And I think they slam on pain. It's all the same thing. And I think we need to go beyond just a certain maturity. It's not based on all word forms. It's very difficult to make people who have been brought up because they say, well, we got it this way. That's the way you have to do it. So we have discussed this matter, and we feel that there can be an approach which does not insult the dignity of interested Western adults. Some people love to have their dignity insulted because they think it's good. egoistic and the project of securing your egoistic pride. You can read it straight out of Johnson in the dialogue speaking about them in the future, or, it's a Socrates dialogue. Was a great humor, and he used the most outrageous stories and examples to illustrate his points. And so he put into the mouth of Confucius all sorts of things that Confucius would never have dreamed of saying. But he also arranges the dialogue between Lao Tzu and Confucius, in which Confucius gets the wrong end of the stick. The Lao Tzu says, your elimination of self, the positive manifestation of self. You are like somebody beating a drum in search of truth. I mean, we would say it is like the police about to raid a whorehouse with a siren on, so that everybody hears them coming along the way. You see? So in the same way, when you go after with a project to eliminate yourself, nothing could be more in the nature of spiritual science. And the more you work on it, and the more you work on it, you get uptight and stiff, the more your spiritual power will increase. So in Taoist doctrines, there is a principle called Wu Wei. And this means Wu means none, or not, no, negation, Wei as a combination. When we watch any performance of an artist or a dancer, we never immediately when the performance is performed, and we say it doesn't ring true, it's too artificial, it doesn't seem too nice. Many people who study Taoist doctrine think that the way means do nothing, in the sense of laissez-faire, be lazy, always be happy. It doesn't mean that. There is a time for action when you study Judo. You use muscles only at the right moment.